Welcome to TV Trash. Recently, we lost a staple of entertainment as the Saturday morning cartoon block came to an end. Why am I supposed to look at this as a tragedy? Look, don't think of me as heartless. After all, I was a kid when Saturday morning animation was in its prime. But times change and evolve. In a time of 24-hour Cartoon Networks and instant streaming, a single weekend morning block for animation is just obsolete. Personally, I'm jealous that today's kids don't have to set an alarm for 6:45 a.m. to make sure they catch their favorite shows. But I suppose I can still pay tribute to this passing of an era. So for at least the rest of this season, I am going to review once a month something that aired on Saturday morning. So naturally, because I'm me, I start with something from the bottom of the barrel, right? Yeah, remember way back when I reviewed the disaster that was Yo Yogi? Well, that wasn't a lone blemish on the lineup it was a part of in 1991. NBC was frequently the third wheel in the Saturday morning ratings race, though 87 was a pretty good year that we may get to eventually, but 91 was pretty much when the bottom dropped out for this network. And a lot of people have suggested that Yo Yogi wasn't even the worst of the lot. There was plenty of other garbage like Wish Kid and Chip and Pepper's Cartoon Madness, but the one I've gotten the most requests for might be ProStars. Yeah, if you take the fundamental concept of Space Jam and triple the ridiculousness, you might get an inkling of what this show was about. ProStars did have an elementally simple concept. Take the biggest sports stars of the time and make them superheroes. The show was about Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and Bo Jackson acting like crosses between James Bond and Batman. The show was originally pitched for ESPN before it ended up on NBC. Think about that. ESPN, the network that built itself shilling and lionizing the biggest sports stars out there, passed on a show that actually made them superheroes. Let's find out why that may have been one of the best decisions they made. Each episode actually began and ended with these live-action segments featuring the athletes.
Bo knows cartoons.
Yeah.
When the best I can say is that it's still better than Club Mario, that ain't good. In the animated part, the basic premise is that these athletes have set up their own organization out of the gym they all share to help kids with problems. Which is a problem in of itself, given that there would be almost no time that they could all work together, seeing as how one of them would be in season at any given time, and that while Bo and Gretzky did both play in Los Angeles, Jordan was based out of Chicago, and when those are among the smaller of the plot holes in this thing, you know we're in for a trip.
My name's Jimmy Hanks, and I heard that you guys help kids with problems, and I got one. I was in the Museum of American Sports where my dad works. I heard him yell something about Cleats Robinson. And I haven't seen him since.
Disappearing father, that sounds serious.
More serious than you think, Michael.
Bo knows baseball history, and Cleats Robinson has been dead for years.
Michael Jordan is supposedly the leader of this group, which is ironic given that he almost never appeared in the live-action spots. And listening to him, you really gotta admire what they teach you at the University of North Carolina.
A wave generator, obviously designed to transform inanimate objects into remote-controlled robots.
Yeah, let's see them train you to be a superhero over at Duke. Gretzky was pretty much the Michelangelo of the group. Seriously, he was played for comedic relief, he was hungry all the time, and he was even voiced by Townsend Coleman.
Is it just me, or is all this adventure making you guys hungry too?
No, Wayne. It's just you.
Then there's Bo Jackson, who is probably the one many of my younger viewers might not know a lot about. In the late 1980s, Vincent Edward Jackson achieved notoriety when he declared he would play professional baseball and football together, and proved to be quite good at both, becoming the first to ever play in the Major League All-Star Game and the NFL Pro Bowl. As a football player, he was actually on his way to having the highest yards per carry average in history until a major hip injury ended his football career and led him to retire from baseball just a few years later. He's basically the brute force of this operation, and mostly known for one catchphrase.
Bo knows bad breath. Bo knows sailing ships, and that's one old galleon.
Yeah, trust me, that was a thing back in the 90s. Then again, the ProStars themselves all have one catchphrase when it's time to get to work.
There's only one thing to do. It's game time.
Nope, still not worse than Let's Get Warty. The owner of the gym is this Jewish-sounding coach woman person simply named Mom, who is also basically like James Bond's Q if he was a sports nut.
I want you should be extra careful with the wonderful gadgets my lovely Denise has designed for this mission.
All right, Wayne. Now this might look like an ordinary wristband, but when you press here, it instantly becomes a full-sized hockey stick. Check out this boomerang puck.
This special Guga over here will give you a nice little lift.
Wow. We're talking some serious hang time there, Mom.
She can design gadgets like this, and she chooses to operate an inner-city gym rather than design technology for the military or some other major company that would pay her up the nose. And we think there are supervillains whose motives didn't make sense. That means she's the one who made the toys, like Bo Jackson's laser bat! Oh, but in the show, it's much more than a laser bat. It also has a grappling hook and shoots out baseballs like a cross between a pitching machine and an AK-47. Yeah, all of you out there with Swiss Army knives are feeling inadequate right now, aren't you? And if you still don't think she's a Q copycat, we get this throwaway line.
Go do it, kick some booty, and bring back ProStar 1 in one piece.
Oh yeah, and their jet, ProStar 1, is made to look like a giant sneaker. Because that's aerodynamically smart!
I think the reason my dad left is because I told him I quit Little League Baseball. I kept striking out.
Listen, Jimmy. No father would leave his son for striking out.
Oh, the simpler times when that might have been true. Trust me, the stories I've read about Little League today would make you vomit.
The brat called in those pumped-up ProStars. But they don't scare me. Why, you ask? Because I'm crazy, insane, and a snappy dresser.
Oh yes! The ProStars have a rogues gallery that includes this cross between Weird Al and Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Aha, Clockwork de l'Orange, just as I thought.
And his name is a parody of a Clockwork Orange. You know, for kids! Man, how long's it been since a reviewer used that joke? And just what is Orange's diabolical plan?
We need the brats as part of our plan to capture the Commissioner of Baseball. Organized baseball will bankrupt itself in order to buy the Commissioner's freedom.
Dude, they'll just blame it on escalating player salaries and force another lockout while jacking up ticket prices and TV contracts. Don't you know anything about how commissioners operate?
Well, the Babe came to life and took the commissioner and Slugger Hanks hostage.
I'm losing control!
Michael, cover me, bro! Gotcha, Jimmy!
Wayne, have I ever let you down?
Actually, no.
Grab hold, Commissioner.
Wow! I know I keep going back to this, but did this show just recruit kids hopped up on sugar to write this stuff? And then Bo Jackson hit a home run right to the robot's control gizmo, and Wayne Gretzky dove to catch the falling kid, and Michael Jordan saved them both with one of his super flying basketballs, and Mommy, give me more pixie sticks, I gotta finish this thing!
If you ever do learn how to hit a curveball, you can teach me too.
Sure thing, pal.
Remember, the ProStars are all about helping kids.
Too late! They already helped themselves by switching over to Garfield and Friends on the next channel. Hopefully all of that didn't cause my viewers to switch over to Decker's Shadow, because we've got more right after this. Are you tired of phony news stories showing up on your Facebook page, causing you to go into a panic-induced rage or a rage-induced panic, only to find out later what a moron you were for falling for such an obvious ruse? The latest Rowdy C show is the dose of catharsis you need. Join me for News Crap, where we'll look at the worst phony stories that get shared over social media and tear them apart like they should be. Coming soon to rowdyc.com. Quest Seekers The Wormstone, putting a new spin on the fantasy adventure genre, now available at Amazon.com. I wish I could go into much further detail on the rest of the episodes, but the truth is there's not that much difference in them. Of the ones I found, they're about as formulaic as I've ever seen, and trust me, that's saying something. Everything happens pretty much like clockwork. The ProStars learn of some kid that needs their help, and then we're treated to Mom giving them their new gadgets for this episode.
Oh no!
Don't think this lets you out of your afternoon workout.
Along the way, Wayne is made to look like a goober, often with him making some comment about needing to eat.
Got you some hot dogs.
Oh, thanks, Tommy. But what about the other guys? Ready to demonstrate our new snow-making attachment?
You put it on upside down.
Oh.
And backwards.
Denise! How do you shut this thing off?
I'd accuse them of making a bad parody of a classic George Jetson line there, but that would suggest these writers watched something as classic as the Jetsons. Meanwhile, they thwart the likes of Dr. Loeb, Short John Silver, and Miss Carlotta, who all just look like they could be copycats of villains from cartoons that are, well, less dumb than this. At least they had one episode that focused on the three playing sports. Sort of.
My Perbots versus the ProStars.
Hey! Oh, wow!
Yeah, it really isn't good when the baseball game in Dinah Saucers made more sense. That having been said, I think I can point out the weakest story of the entire series. It was the episode Blockbusters, when the ProStars are asked to help save a fading co-op building from being taken over by a greedy businessman. You know, like something out of a story the Captain Planet writers would reject.
Ugh, I hate sloppiness. It's so sloppy.
And that is the ultimate irony with how this show came out.
I want to thank you guys for coming to help, but I don't know how much longer we can hold out against that land shark, Paulie.
You know, given how much money these three athletes made, they could probably just buy the building themselves, use their names to get funding if needed. Instead, they resort to vigilante tactics and put the kids they're supposed to be helping in harm's way. Our heroes!
I got you now, you miserable, irritating fleas.
Whoa! This is worse than getting cross-checked in the playoffs!
So I'm guessing none of you are really surprised that this show wasn't picked up for a second season. Though to be fair, nothing was, as this was pretty much NBC's last go-round with an animation lineup on Saturday mornings. But even if that didn't happen, there's no way this thing would have continued, because ProStars was a strikeout, fumble, and airball all rolled into one! Is it worse than Yo Yogi? Well, I don't think I can say that. Yo Yogi took long-established characters and tried to force an already overused theme on them. At least this show tried something new. But that doesn't mean the execution wasn't a complete failure. The stories are as cookie-cutter as you can get. The concept looks like something out of the sports section of fanfiction.net, and the steps they have to go to in trying to turn these athletes into a superhero team just stretch believability too far, even for a cartoon of this time period. Surprisingly, this is one of the small handful of shows that DHX Media, the new owners of the Deke properties, actually put up on their official YouTube channel, while other more classic stuff remains buried in their vault. Especially since they haven't updated that channel in a year and a half. And you just know that someone saw these episodes and is already thinking up a reboot starring LeBron James and Peyton Manning. See you next time on TV Trash. My name is Chris Lee Moore, and I play the pissed-off pizza guy along with other characters in videos distributed throughout the World Wide Web. As the PO'd pizza guy, I make a lot of extreme jokes and statements as to what the character would like to see happen to his customers, some of which can convey a very violent nature. I would hope that most people who view these videos understand that such comments are meant to be taken as jokes of an adult nature. But there's something that's not a joke, and that is real violence against innocent people. It is estimated that anywhere from 1 in 6 to 1 in 3 women are victims of abuse in the United States alone. You will be hard-pressed to find anyone who would dare say they actually support the abuse of women, but those numbers would indicate that there are still far too many people committing such acts and not enough being done to counteract it. That is why Rowdy C Productions is now an active donor to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network in the hopes of fighting this travesty. Anyone who contributes to the Rowdy C Betrayin campaign can rest knowing your donations will help this effort toward fighting abuse. There's only so much many of us can do, but if everyone could do the very least, it would lead to much more than we can possibly realize. Let's all try to do what we can to build a world where we definitely know what is a joke and what isn't.